Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
And I'm Jay Reef.
Indeed. And we are indeed. And we are into coming close to the middle of our month of David Lynch. We are 3 films in. This is our 4th, and it I dare say it marks a turning point in Lynch's career. Obviously, we have the great success of The Experimental Eraserhead. Then he gets picked up for The Elephant Man, a more serious, not more serious, can't get more serious than what we're going to talk about today, but a more straight film, as Dennis Hopper described it in his wonderful interview I watched this morning. And then we have the massive, gigantic failure of Dune, which does set him up, however, with Dino De Laurentiis. And Blue Velvet is a script that Lynch had for multiple years. And basically, he struck a deal with Dino De Laurentiis, who you may know was the producer of the Hannibal Lecter movies. He made Manhunter, and that didn't make any money. And then he made Silence of the Lambs, and that made lots of money and won lots of Oscars. And he said, just keep making Hannibal movies. And, his deal with Lynch was, because he liked the script, he said, I can't give you 10 million, but I can cut your salary and give you complete artistic control. And ultimately, final cut, and we get Blue Velvet.
From the mind of David Lynch comes a modern-day masterpiece, so startling, so provocative, so mysterious, that it will open your eyes to a world you have never seen before.
Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit about the general plot of Blue Velvet?
Okay, so Blue Velvet is set in a small town of Lumberton, and follows Jeffrey Beaumont, who is played by the lovely Callum McLaughlin, one of Lynch's favorites. And then walking home from the hospital after his father suffers a stroke, he discovers a severed ear in the middle of a field. And then the story spirals into craziness once he meets someone related to that ear, played by the wonderful Isabella Rossellini.
She wore blue velvet, but in my heart there'll always be precious and warm a memory through the years, and I still can see blue velvet.
Hey, neighbor. Here I come. You got about 1 second to live, buddy.
Through my tears.
Do you want me to go further? No.
I think we can talk now about just the ingenious of the setup of this film. The fact it really strikes into its gear, obviously, when Jeffrey stakes out Dorothy's apartment the second time. But the ingenious of the setup of this sort of 50s quasi-detective, sort of Nancy Drew thing of like, I'm going to figure out a mystery.
Yes.
And he's got all that whimsy. And then we've got the wonderful Laura Dern as Sandy, who I'm just in love with in this film. Just epitomizing that sort of 50s beauty, chic, I dare say naivety and vulnerability. And
sweet.
Perfect, yeah, sweet. And then he finds that he picked the wrong ear, and we enter into a world of sadomasochism and drugs and just general perversity that will affect Jeffrey and Sandy for as long as they stay together. We'll see how long that lasts. What was your? Do you remember your initial watch of Blue Velvet?
Yes, I do. I just finished watching the original series of Twin Peaks for the first time, and then I saw that he made a film called Blue Velvet, and I was on YouTube and I watched a trailer. I think it was for either a re-release that had just happened or was just about to happen, and it had In Dreams playing over it by Roy Orbison, and that just got me to watch the film instantly. Really good.
I think this was my first Lynch film, or at least it was my first Lynch film. Knowing who David Lynch was, I think I watched The Elephant Man as a child because that was always a movie that my grandma loves and my mum loves and my granddad loves, and so I was like, and they said you need to watch The Elephant Man. They're not fans of the rest of the Lynchian canon. But I do love The Elephant Man, as we talked about in our previous episode. I think I watched Blue Velvet before I did Twin Peaks.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. I think my order of buying things was the 3-disc box set with Mulholland Drive, Elephant Man, and Inland Empire. Then the 6-film box set with Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks, and Eraserhead, Lost Highway, the rest, basically, apart from Straight Story. And then the Twin Peaks DVDs. And then delving all into that. Let's dive into YouTube comments. Okay. David Lynch's masterpiece. I think it's one of them.
Yeah.
Well, as I think it's a sort of conversation we can table until Inland Empire, and we've sort of looked at it all again. But talking about what may be the crowning jewel of Lynch's career. I think this is a great way in.
Okay.
Because I remember an ex of mine, and she enjoyed Twin Peaks a lot, actually, more than I thought she would. And I think Blue Velvet mirrors the structure of Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah, it definitely does.
In that by the time that it starts getting weird, you're already sucked into the mystery and the characters.
Yeah.
I very much doubt that if Twin Peaks if Twin Peaks had the European pilot as its normal pilot, with the dwarf dance there, that my ex would have got any further than that first. But you're sucked in by episode 3.
Yeah, you are.
As you are sucked in here after the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. It is one of my favorites. But never mind. Keep on going.
This film is about Agent Cooper's mysterious past before he became an FBI special agent and his secretary, Diane. And then somebody commented on that, not understanding, I think, that was a joke, and going, will it affect, saying, does it affect that I haven't watched Twin Peaks yet?
Oh, mommy. Mommy loves you. Baby wants to fuck. Get ready to fuck! You fuckers, fucker! You fucker! Don't you fucking look at me! What's Blue Velvet?
Strange Kind of Love. I love the IRA. I just don't know. I have seen this film for 4 years. Once for a week. Now, do you want to try and break that one down, Jay? I don't think I can.
There's a lot to dissect here. I don't know.
You know, the IRA. What's that got to do with Blue Velvet? I love that my shadow and lighting in the room has added a blue tint.
It really suits the.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A blue velvet. Let's dive into best 10 minute stretch. Let's do
best
10 minute stretch. Let's do best 10 minute stretch.
Okay.
Meeting Sandy. And
Right.
And walking around, doing the chicken dance. And that sort of initial. Sloane's Club. The initial the initial viewing of Dorothy singing Blue Velvet, and then into Blue Star with the incomparable Angelo Badalamenti on the piano.
Yes. Yeah.
Into the closet, what I'll call the closet scene, where we meet Frank for the first time.
Yeah.
And what is referred to as the ritualistic rape scene, because it's not it's definitely an assault scene, but then she seems to like it. There's this deep, dark, perverse psychology and sex in this film. It's clear that Dorothy is enjoying. Is that a cat I keep hearing?
Yeah. Not the biggest fan.
I'm not a big fan of cats. I'm not a big fan of cats. Not just the musical.
That one hates me. Right.
We're talking about the closet scene.
Yes.
And we're distinctly talking about Dorothy's sexuality. And she's clearly into sadomasochistic tendencies.
Yes.
Sort of elements of pain.
Yeah.
The question is, of course, and Isabella Rossellini saw it as an empowered character.
Mm-hmm.
There is the question, has that been brought out of her from a clear repeated abuse from Frank? Or is that something that she genuinely enjoys? As she is, having consensual sex with Jeffrey later in the film, she asks to be hit. There's lots of deep psychology to delve into here.
I mean, just touching on that, like with the whole film's about like the dark underbelly of the small American town, isn't it? And then you have Jeffrey, who starts off like, he's very innocent, he's very
chicken dance.
Yeah, chicken dance. But then she keeps on pushing him during the scenes together to hit him. And it's kind of like suggesting that everyone has some dark tendencies that they could lean into.
Even in the town of Lumberton. I mean, I'm not original in this thought here. It's something that's been posited a lot. But that initial sequence, which we'll get to in Best Single Minute, of the heart attack / stroke.
Yeah.
And that picket fence, Blue Velvet playing, Bobby Vinton. Those pristine, beautiful images, the roses, his mother watching maybe Invitation to Love, we don't know. But and then that heart attack, and then burrowing down into the bugs and the grime and the dirt. If one was to pick an image to consolidate Lynch's entire career, it would be this. It would be this.
Absolutely.
Everything,
Yeah.
It's all looking at that that deep dark underbelly. Obviously, of course, Twin Peaks is the grandest and most epic exploration of that. This sort of zones in on the crime element, the sort of effect of crime, and those who inadvertently get wound up into it. And also, it's a deconstruction of mystery and those sort of mystery novels. And we all would love to be Agatha Christie. You know, Knives Out was another great example last year of just we all, you know, anytime we watch a film, we want to figure it out. And that's the genius of the film, is that Jeffrey wants to figure it out, and Sandy gets sucked in. You know, I've got a bug spray, and I'm gonna, and you're gonna pretend to be a Jehovah's Witness. I've got some Awake magazines for you. And then it turns out that we're deeply entering into a world of deep perversion. The ride sequence into Ben's. Maybe my favorite. I think that's my favorite.
Okay, right. That was mine as well.
It could be yours too. I think maybe we'll break it down when we break I'm going to throw these out and then we'll break them down. We'll talk about Dean Stockwell in a minute. Just a little party. You know, it's more so 5 minutes, but Jeffrey and Sandy going to that little party and wonderful Julie Cruz playing. And them having a nice little dance, and it's lovely. It's lovely. Which leads us into going home from the party, and Mike, Mike chasing them home. We think it's Frank, and then we have naked Dorothy.
Lynch really has a thing against people called Mike.
Yes, he does. There's no great Mikes.
They just all lose their girlfriends.
Yeah.
Right.
Poor Mike. Well, no, Mike gets his own back. He gets he has a fling with in the final season, but even that comes to a head. She gets when Lynch comes back and goes, "What are you doing with all of my characters?
You need to stop." Okay.
Please.
So okay, they drive home,
and then I have the finale. The sort of shooting of Frank, and that incredibly tense sequence. He's back in the closet. That sort of mirroring of where this deep, dark spiraling started. Let's break him down. Then let's talk about Sandy. Let's talk about Laura Dern in this film, who was I can't remember. She was 16 or 18. She was a even age.
It was before Jurassic Park.
It was before Jurassic Park, yes. It's obviously the famous daughter of Diane Ladd, who we will talk about in Wild at Heart, where she plays her own mother. Wonderful Diane Ladd, who Christmas Vacation fans may know as Clark's mother. I can never. Every time I watch Christmas Vacation, my family are all laughing and going, "Oh, how sweet!" And I can just see her with lipstick all over her face. There's just there's no disconnecting. Similarly to Isabella Rossellini, and she has a great cameo in an episode of 30 Rock, which is a lovely comedy show. And I just keep thinking, he put his disease in me. And then obviously she's great in Death Becomes Her. I don't know if you've seen Death Becomes Her, Jay?
No, I haven't.
She gives away the special de-aging serum. She has the great line, "You go, but keep your ass handy." It's very good. Oh, wow. But Sandy, so wonderful and delightful in this film. Again, playing into that sweetness. Even she sort of avoids destruction. To some extent.
I mean, she is throughout the entire time trying to get Jeffrey to stop, and he doesn't listen. And
she obviously has her crying scene.
Yeah.
which is horrible.
Yeah.
And that could be seen as her destruction. But
Yeah.
then she has, I feel by the end, for her, this will pass.
Yeah.
Which is insane to say, obviously, when a naked lover of her boyfriend comes into their family home. But I think this may pass.
Yeah.
There is something about Jeffrey's crying scene and the cutting to the things that are making him cry.
Mm.
This is more deep-rooted. This will never... Doesn't matter how many Robins arrive.
Yeah.
Jeffrey's done.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard for her to completely... Obviously, she does get over it, but it's easy for her to get sucked in because obviously her dad is part of it in a way through the other cop.
Gordon, the yellow man.
Yes, I was trying to remember that.
Then we move into... well, have I missed... of those nominees, before we start breaking them down, have I missed any 10-minute stretches, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
I think they're the top 5, and then we'll talk later whether, what's the best. I think we're going to agree. But Sloane's Club, Into the Closet.
Yeah.
That initial... I love the the orchestration of Blue Velvet and Isabella Rossellini singing it, who was very nervous. She had a drink before she sang it.
I remember reading that apparently she really couldn't sing. People were saying.
But she's lovely. She sings very well. I don't know if there's a career in it for her, but she perfectly epitomizes that noir, femme fatale. Yeah. Obviously, Gilda's performances were a bit more energetic.
She sucks you in, and she sucks Jeffrey in. Yeah,
and you believe it. Obviously, Frank is an extreme character, to say the least. But you believe it when we see him weeping later, when he's watching her. You believe it wholeheartedly. And obviously, she looks incredible in that dress, on that background, lit so. She's obviously a very beautiful woman. He naturally fell in love with her, did Lynch. They were engaged by the end of 86. I can't remember how long that relationship lasted, but it was... I think 1990 rings a bell.
It was still during Twin Peaks, I'm pretty sure, because of Wild at Heart.
Yes, Wild at Heart. She's in that, which obviously was filmed concurrently to season 2, I believe.
Yes.
Which it says
here 1991.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Lovely little relationship. One of my favourites. And obviously she's just incredible in this film. So good. We'll talk about it in Oscar Travesty, but lack of nomination is shocking. The film did get 1 nomination, Jay. Do you know what the nomination was?
What was it?
It was director. He got nominated. That's always been the sort of acknowledgement from the Academy. Because he got nominated for Mulholland Drive as well.
As he should have.
Naturally, yeah. And lost to bloody, I think it's Ron Howard for A Beautiful Mind, which is just baffling. I'd even, I love Gosford Park and Robert Altman. There's a lovely interview where Lynch talks about his friendship with Robert Altman, and that started because Gosford Park and Mulholland Drive were in that same campaign Oscar run, and so they were at all the events together, and they had a great time together. Into Meeting Frank. Is there a better intro line than "Shut up, it's Daddy, where's my bourbon"?
No. Oh my God.
Frank Booth. Let's talk about Frank.
What a nice character. No. Oh.
It's weird because he's not as charming. Well, no, he's not charming at all. When we talk about villains we love to watch, you look at Lecter.
Yeah.
And you could watch him for days. You're rooting for him in The Escape. You're never rooting for Frank.
No. But I think you're watching him.
Oh, you can't look away.
No.
The extremely vulgar writing of Lynch and the performance of Hopper imbues Frank Booth as just eternally terrifying.
Yeah, and he influences all of his villains afterwards to obviously the main villain of Twin Peaks, and then obviously Richard Horn in the 3rd season.
And even Robert Loggia in Lost Highway as well. That sort of higher ranking thing. Yeah. But he's so perversely entertaining and funny and funny.
Yeah.
You know, you're laughing at horrific things.
I know.
Ungodly funny.
He's just doing heinous things, but it's still like.
And then he's got his great crew with Jack Nance and Brad Dourif.
Yeah, Jack Nance was just stood there, like, yes. Oh man, it's.
My name's Paul.
Paul.
I forget every time that he doesn't ask him his name. My name's Paul, and he's leaning into it as if he's going to say, "What's yours?" And the wonderful Brad Dourif. I don't know where this is in Brad Dourif's career. I presume. I mean, it's obviously after Cuckoo's Nest, one of my 3rd favorite film of all time. And before Child's Play, sort of revitalizes his career and makes it what it is today. And also, this is before Exorcist 3, which is incredible. Exorcist 3, brilliant film.
Oh, is it?
Very, very good. Very good. Exorcist 2 is obviously a shambles, but Exorcist 3 is brilliant, I dare say.
Right.
Everybody buy the Blu-ray, the Arrow video Blu-ray. Mine arrived the other day. I loved watching it in pristine high definition.
She wore
As much as I enjoyed watching this in pristine high definition, the wonderful cinematography of, God damn me to hell, Frederick
Elms.
Frederick Elms.
Yes.
And who they met at film college, and they made Eraserhead together and went on to make this together.
Wild at Heart.
Some beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. For me, the surrealist stuff and still works exceptionally well in this, but for me, this has some of his most beautiful imagery.
Yes. I mean, there's obviously the start, which we mentioned, and then there's also stuff like when Jeffrey and Sandy are walking just before the chicken dance, I think, and she just comes out of the darkness into the light.
Incredible.
And they talk, and it's just
so I love how long it takes, because we've seen that sort of shot before, but it's never that long. We hear her voice, and then it's like, I was counting it. It was like a full 5 seconds before we see even a glint of that pink dress. Incredible. Which moves into, let's talk about a ride. You know what I go for? What? A ride. A ride! Where we meet played by the wonderful Dean Stockwell.
Yes. The flickering eyelids. Oh.
Fine. I'm fine. I don't want to spoil my specific favourite part of the film, but it's his raising of the eyes on, here's to your fuck, Frank.
Oh.
We need to start saying that as our cheers.
Yes.
This is greatly passed us by, this opportunity. When are we going to host a Blue Velvet party where we make our little kitchen into Ben's house?
Yes, that would be fun.
Fuck anything that moves.
Oh, I quote that too often.
It's a great quote. And if more people watch the film, we'd look less like deranged perverts.
Yeah, I know.
What's your favorite? I think it's Ben. I think something just we talk about the bizarreness of Lynch, and people just write it off. Such specific, brilliant choices. The cigarette holder.
Yep.
The faint white makeup.
Yep. The microphone that isn't even on. Yep.
And this leads into probably the most singular and my favorite part. Definitely my favorite use of music in the film. The miming of "In Dreams," which I believe is just one of your favorite songs. Why don't you talk about it?
Oh, okay. Well, that's the moment I fell in love with the film. The first time I watched it. I don't know what it is about Lynch, but whenever he takes it into something theatrical with the singing, and the film just stops to focus on it for a moment. It's just incredible for me. And it's when people say that Lynch's films are dreamlike and dreamy and surrealist, I think it just perfectly encapsulates that within a minute. I mean, they're all just stood there in the apartment watching this guy sing after, and Jeffrey's been dragged around by this homicidal crazy man.
Repeatedly punched.
Yes, and they're just watching Ben sing a Roy Orbison song, which is very nice sounding. I've sang it a few times. I love it.
Which leads into then that being played later in the car scene. You know, get my chemical clown, give me my chemical clown, and Frank repeating so coldly, so brutally each line after each sung line from Orbison. And as he slowly starts missing them, and he just starts going forever. It's that rare. You talk about it a lot we talk about it a lot in comedies. Of like, it's that rare thing of everybody knows what sort of movie they're in.
Yeah. And
you look at Fish Called Wanda. You look at Airplane. Airplane obviously is a different situation where they're intentionally saying, act like you normally would, even though they don't know what sort of film they're in. I mean, I think we underestimate the capability of those performers and what they knew what was happening. But Wet Hot American Summer, everybody is so in tune to the comedy of the film, and I think you can bring that here. You can bring that to some of the best Lynch stuff. Is that everybody, especially you look at Twin Peaks. I mean, obviously there are slight peaks and lots of peaks, slight troughs in the Twin Peaks canon. But for the most part, everybody is so in tune to this almost incomprehensible thing. You have to be funny, serious, melodramatic, subtle, scary, but also satirical of soap opera and 50s films, whilst also being genuinely sincere and genuinely terrifying.
I'll have to go into it when we talk about Twin Peaks season 3, but we've got miles to go. I
think what it is
that is this.
It's that I think it's Lynch's firm hand. He so clearly knows what he's doing, and I just get so annoyed when people write it off as it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'll let you know there were long stretches of The Return where I said to myself, what the hell is happening? This doesn't make any sense. But you look at it as a whole, as bizarre and absurd as that narrative is, it has a complete narrative.
I know. I think all of his films are inherently extremely honest.
Most so Mulholland Drive.
Yep.
That second, more so end of second act reveal, before we get into, you know, the darkness underneath all that. And every one of those non sequitur little scenes that we have in the first half is all purposeful. You know?
Yeah, it is. I think it's hard for anyone to say Lynch doesn't know what he's doing when you can just look at Mulholland Drive where it does all click together.
I think that's his masterpiece. I did a ranking by decade, and that was my top film of the 2000s. And I do think it's one of the most seminal pieces of cinema ever.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I think it's and I think for people that sort of dismiss it as the weird and the bizarre and the plotless, as I say, I think Blue Velvet is a great way in. I think if you show them Elephant Man, you're not actually, you are showing them Lynch, you're showing them wonderful Lynch, but you're not showing them the Lynch that they're going to have 9 other films of. Yeah. Blue Velvet, perfectly in 2 hours, sets up, as we've discussed, Lynch as an auteur.
Yes.
Tom's weirdly specific favourite parts of the film. I love the cut to the harsh cut to the Lumberton sign after the deep, dark burrowing. The cut to the scissors. Well, it had to be scissors. And that musical sting. And it's playing it for comedy. It's like, wah, wah. And it's like, oh, this is going to be funny and wacky, and this is going to be great. And they're going to solve a mystery. And then baby wants to fuck. You know, we have no idea what's coming. Sandy intro that we talk about. I love when Jeffrey's pissing and he just goes, Heineken. I've put here gas.
Gas?
Oh, I'm so bad with it. I write these bloody notes. Yes, of course.
Okay.
I genuinely can't believe that I just forgot about Frank's supply of anal nitrate. So we both know what it should have. We know the story of what it should have been. Let's tell our audience. It was going to be helium. Okay.
Oh yeah, that would have been interesting.
It was going to be helium. Then Hopper said that it needed to be amyl nitrate because obviously Hopper was just out of rehab for drug and alcohol abuse. Mm-hmm. By all accounts, terrible man, really, quite abusive in the height of his drug use and alcoholism. And this sort of marked a comeback for him with Hoosiers as well being shot this year, which he got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor for. And he said, no, amyl people don't snort helium they snort in amyl nitrate because it heightens your sex drive, apparently, and it makes sex better.
Okay.
So that's what he's sucking on. And however, then Hopper returned to the idea of helium like in the 90s and was, wait, no, that would have been funnier if it was helium. And that is why in Lynch in the 90s, looking back, said that's why amyl nitrate was better, because it shouldn't have been funny. The scene was perverted and funny and dark and twisted enough.
Yes.
Would it have been better, or would it have been better with helium? Baby wants to fuck. I mean, it gets him more to a baby voice.
It would, yeah, true. I don't know if it would have completely. It's already weird enough as it is that he's like sucking onto this, and then, yeah. But
I mean, it's one of the great villain images and horror images of all time in film history. Is that? I mean, that's for me, Jeffrey's snap moment where he's like, "Wait, that guy just pulled out from his leather jacket." So he's got some sort of setup.
Yeah,
incredible. I love him talking to Sandy the day after. How did it go? It went okay. Jeffrey, I think you're maybe you know, the whole truth and nothing but the truth there.
It went okay.
Yeah. Frank watching her singing Blue Velvet. Later in the car, when he snorts his gas again and everybody's just watching, and he's with Dorothy and he goes, "What are these?" The cut to nothing before the when we leave Ben's, I'm gonna fuck anything that moves.
That's one of the moments I was going to mention as well. It's just odd.
And then the haunting bag mannequin that's left, and we're like, oh wait, I thought that was another person sat there. Oh wait, that's not. That's a baby's head on a mannequin stuffed.
And then also at the end, when Jeffrey walks back into the apartment and there's like 3 dead people standing around.
It's that finale is great.
Yeah.
Just perfect. You know, it's another one of those influences that you'd never think about. It's Hitchcockian. It's so brilliantly tense. The yellow man, when Jeffrey goes to the police and he turns around and sees that, and killing Frank, that glorious headshot.
Yeah.
Any really specific favorite parts that you have, Jay?
Well, there was the pop out, like you said. Obviously, there's when he shoots Frank. And maybe the bit when Jeffrey's watching Frank and the well-dressed man go to the meetup. That's weirdly specific, but yeah.
And we should notice that it's Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
But it passed me again this time. I was like, oh, it's him, isn't it? I forgot.
Yeah.
Soundtrack corner. So Angelo Badalamenti.
Yes.
Angelo. Oh, Angelo. And it was building. And it was building.
He says, "You're doing it, Angelo. You're in the deep, dark woods. And you come out."
Why hasn't somebody done... I had a performance art module last year. And I personally, apart from my lack of piano playing skills, don't know why I didn't just perform that. And I don't care if nobody knows what they were doing. Oh, Angela. It's one of the best videos ever. It just always will be. And his score here is sweeping, haunting. You know, a lot more built up than the sort of synth usage in Mulholland Drive and in Twin Peaks.
Yeah. And then he also helped compose the Julie Cruz song, I'm pretty sure.
And that's great. Mysteries of Love.
Yeah.
Where's that for you in the Julie Cruz canon?
I'd say above the Nightingale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around there. But not near the World Spins or Rocking Back Inside Your Heart.
I want you rock back someone. I'm pretty sure that when it comes to Twin Peaks, episode 7 of season 2 is going to have to be its own episode.
I could go for hours.
I just think it is unassailable as an episode of television. That final 15 minutes, including the reveal, the 2 Julie Cruz songs. Exceptional. Which leads us into other soundtrack. But obviously Blue Velvet's incredible. The use of love letters I very much enjoy in that sort of raid sequence. And then
Frank saying, "I sent you a love letter." Okay.
Do you know what a love letter is? Bullet from a gun. I know what a love letter is, Frank. Frank Booth, very misunderstood standing of what a love letter is.
Yes.
He's just confused. It's misunderstood. Oscar travesty. Boom.
Okay.
So this is Platoon year. Children of a Lesser God, The Mission, Hannah and Her Sisters, Room of the View. It's the year that Paul Newman finally wins his Oscar for The Colour of Money. Marley Matlin wins for Children of a Lesser God. Diane Wiest and Michael Caine both win for Hannah and Her Sisters. I'm obviously a huge Woody Allen fan. We have our Hannah and Her Sisters episode up now. So for me, this probably should have been another Woody year. I very much enjoy Platoon. But I think in the Vietnam canon, I'm going Deer Hunter, I'm going Apocalypse Now. We do get one nomination for Lynch for director.
Yes. Okay.
For you, what are your big travesties here? What are we missing? Because that's it.
I'd say Dennis Hopper. But he's already in there in Heathfield.
He could do. See, this is the thing. You could do the Holly Hunter, Emma Thompson, Al Pacino, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and now Scarlett Johansson as well. But the Hughes performance is a Best Supporting Actor performance.
Okay.
Could you make the argument that Frank Booth is a Best Actor performance?
I'm trying to measure the screen time in my head. Maybe.
I think for me, swap his Hughes performance for his Blue Velvet performance. I think that's the way to go. I then would the competition between Michael Caine and Dennis Hopper. That's big.
And then I'd put obviously Isabella Rossellini, an actress.
Yeah. Jane Fonda in The Morning After, a fine thriller, not Best Actress worthy, I have to say. Kathleen Turner's great in Peggy Sue Got Married. I'd probably, and I love that Sigourney Weaver got nominated for Aliens.
Yeah,
I love that. That was sort of one of the big talking points people were saying for when Charlize was being considered for Mad Max for Best Actress. People were like, well, she's not going to win. Sorry, she's not going to get nominated. It's an action movie. And everyone kept saying, yeah, well, look at Sigourney in Aliens. Just fucking incredible. And I think Isabella would win, actually, if she gets nominated. But she obviously didn't. I love Kyle. I don't know if this is a nomination for him. Original screenplay, I famously hate My Beautiful Laundrette. Obviously revolutionary in its depiction of interracial relationships, and obviously revolutionary in LGBTQ relations. But there are far better films. It's fucking shit. Why do people like My Beautiful Laundrette? It's not good. Daniel Day-Lewis is great in it. Boring, bad film.
Okay.
I think that's it. I think you could make an argument for a screenplay.
Yeah.
I think editing. Who was nominated for editing that year?
Platoon, Aliens,
Yeah.
Banner and Sister. I'd swap
Get rid
out
of The
Top
Mission.
Gun. Okay.
Actually, maybe get rid of Top Gun.
Yeah.
You know what the worst parts of Top Gun are? The fucking flying scenes. You can't tell what's happening. It's mad that they are the worst parts of a movie about flying. You cannot tell who's flying. I'm all for the scenes, in the bar and with Kelly McGillis. But that's bad if the worst scenes in your movie are about flying or flying. Best single minute. What would you throw out as your nomination to best single minute, Jay?
Okay. Candy Colored Clown.
Yeah.
Then also, I'm cheating with 2. Also,
no. Throw all your nominations out, and then we'll whittle down.
Okay, and then the climax with Jeffrey in the closet, and then coming out and shooting Frank.
And David Lynch joins me now from Montreal. David, what is this movie about?
This movie, I say, is about the mysteries of darkness and love.
That's sort of hard to do, isn't it? I actually found the movie very disturbing.
It's a disturbing thing because it's a trip beneath a beautiful surface, but to a fairly uneasy interior of a small town.
Why did you want to do that? Why tell that story? Why is that so important to you?
I love to me, I grew up in the Northwest in a very, very beautiful world, and a lot of my life has been discovering this strange sickness, and it's got a fascination to me, and I love the idea of going into something and discovering a world and being able to watch it and experience it.
And he's using the walkie-talkie. On the phone. Yeah.
That's some good shit.
Yeah.
It's some good film shit.
Yes, it is.
I have nominations. I have The Initial Heart Attack, which sets us on our way as a just sort of perfect summation of all of that. I have the beer conversation talking about Heineken with
fuck that shit. That's Blue Ribbon.
That's Blue. Fuck that shit. Heineken, king of beers. But I also like the earlier discussion with Sandy, where he's like, Heineken, king of beers. And he's so confident in it and so happy. The montage after the first night, that sort of perverted, distorted montage where it's sort of sinking in, what's going to happen.
Yeah. And when Jeffrey has that, is it a nightmare or a dream of like Frank's distorted face with the candle?
That's what I'm on about. Yeah, that's terrifying. Yeah, that is just deeply.
Now it's dark.
Now it's dark. I mean, maybe a touch on the nose, but now it's dark. Now it's dark.
No, it is.
Now we're in. Now we're into what this is going to be, and it's it's a darker tale than we had before. Which leads us, I have the sex, that great sex scene, initial sex scene with Isabella and Jeffrey.
She's holding him at, is it knife point?
Yeah.
And telling him to strip. Yeah.
Strip. Closer. You like to watch. Have you been a bad boy? Do you want to be a bad boy? Again, in that beautiful robe. I love that robe. What a great robe.
Yeah, it's so.
If you could have one prop from this movie, Jay, what would it be?
I'd say probably the yeah
probably the gas. I'd pick the gas too. I wouldn't necessarily use it. It would be a great if you came to a party with that's a great leather jacket. Well, wait till you see what's inside. But you hear that tap turning on. Yeah, that's another very specific favorite part that I enjoy is the hearing the tap. You're going, whoa, wait a minute. What did I just hear?
What do you mean by this strange sickness?
Well, there are things going on that are hidden that we don't know about, but somehow we are drawn to at least wanting to see it, wanting to watch it maybe from a distance. And this film allows a person to become a voyeur and to see this and have an experience of a world that was hidden.
Do you think that's the purpose of films, or of some films, to really disturb and upset and horrify people?
Well, no. I think that for me, I get ideas, and I go with those ideas. It's not that I set out to disturb someone or do something to an audience. I set out to try to translate these ideas into film and to create some sort of a world for me that I can say, yes, this is what was in my mind.
So it's purely personal for you to do this, to have a vision and then make a film?
A lot of it is like going into a dream for me, yeah, and yes, it is.
And then he put his disease in me. Yeah. Best line.
Best line. Oh, I haven't written it down.
I have here a couple. Baby wants to fuck.
Yeah.
Best exchange. Hey, you want to go for a ride? No thanks. No thanks. What does that mean? I don't want to go. Go where? For a ride. A ride! That's a good idea. Is incredibly well written and well delivered.
Also the scene with Jeffrey and Sandy where I think outside a church, and you can hear like a version of Mysteries of Love playing, and she's talking about the robins coming, which obviously sets up the ending.
The end. I can't figure out if you're a detective or a pervert. Well, that's for me to know, and you'd find out. Wrong answer, Jeffrey. This girl's great. Get her on your side.
Yeah.
You go.
That's for me to.
Yeah. I'm a detective. I'm just very interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't toast to my health. Toast to my fuck.
Here's to your fuck, Frank. Yeah.
Here's to your fuck, Frank. I looked for you in my closet tonight.
Yep. I'll send you a love letter.
Any other nominations, Jay?
No.
No. Then we move into what's the change? Do you have any changes?
I don't know. I mean, I love Blue Velvet. I just think he executed the same things a bit better in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I've got here. I know it. You know, the pace and everything. I don't especially like the initial montage of Dorothy's two performances. I know we see Blue Velvet again, but I think it's a harsh fade, especially when you're dealing with music. There's no easy way really to music.
Changes.
Let's talk about Jeffrey's two timing.
Yeah.
What a dog.
It doesn't really touch much on that. It goes from that happening and then him apologizing pretty quickly, and then
I think the most
and he's like,
egregious scene to scene is when he says he loves Sandy and kisses her.
yeah.
And then he goes and has sex with Dorothy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the point.
Oh,
but
yeah.
still,
Yeah.
Still, geez.
Jeffrey.
And then, yeah, Dorothy ends up reunited with her son.
Very nice ending.
I keep that. Yeah.
Obviously, her husband's dead, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And set up so brilliantly, like a wax museum by old Frankie.
Maybe make more of a deal out of Dorothy's son before the end, even though it's already quite big. Yeah.
Could see that, yeah. What's left from Jay's notes?
Okay.
Got a few whilst you're getting that.
Yeah.
We touched on most of mine. Go on, sorry.
Okay. It's kind of got to do with the film. So when she comes out naked at the house, that was inspired by something Lynch saw when he was younger.
Yeah.
He actually, which is just weird to think about. When he saw
a weird world.
Yeah. It's why I just think his films are honest, even though they're so bizarre. They're just so sincere. Like, that actually happened.
Well, this leads us into a few fun facts. Let's talk about a bit more of behind the scenes. In an interview, Dennis Hopper claimed that writer-director David Lynch would never say the word fuck during filming. He would simply point to the line in the script and say, "That word." Which Lynch has said this isn't exactly true, but he didn't want to charge the atmosphere any more than it already was. Which is understandable. But we also know Lynch's wonderful proclivity to swear from all the behind-the-scenes Twin Peaks footage.
Fucking morons.
Albert, what does he say? Einstein must have been furious.
What a heavy load Einstein must have had.
Morons. Fucking morons everywhere. Several of the actors who were considered for the role of Frank found the character too repulsive and intense. Not Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper, by contrast, is reported to have exclaimed, "I've got to play Frank because I am Frank." Not really. And so David Lynch then went back to Kyle and Isabella and said, "I think I found a great actor. I don't know what it's going to be like behind the scenes."
Yeah. This is also one of Roger Ebert's favorite films, not.
Oh, rewatching that footage, couldn't believe it. I think he's completely unjustified. So his basic arguments was that, it was pornographic, and it was taking he had not necessarily a problem with the film. He had a problem with the way that the actors were treated and what Lynch was asking Isabella Rossellini to do. And Siskel immediately shuts him down and says, Isabella Rossellini was paid and knew what she was doing. And by all accounts, no issues on the set, despite the very heavy nature of what's being done. Lynch, very, very considerate director.
Oh, he's very tender with his actors.
Yeah. I just have no basis in what Ebert's saying. And Ebert's a critic that I otherwise, this is the thing. I agree with him most of the time, but sometimes he's just wrong. And it's an unbearable load he has, obviously, proclaimed as the greatest film critic or whatever. So his opinions, anytime they're, well, you can't have a wrong opinion, but anytime that they're not aligned with the majority, he sort of gets shafted.
And there was also Mark Commode,
Mm.
who walked out the first time he saw it, but then changed his mind. I remember that surprised me when I watched his video.
Yeah, how do you walk out? What?
Yeah,
you
Blue
know?
Velvet. Yeah, he said at the time he wasn't good enough to watch it, which okay, but
what a bullshit. Anyway, Isabella Rossellini's role was written by David Lynch for Debbie Harry of Blondie. However, Harry was sick of receiving offers to play the weirdo after she had played such a character in Videodrome, which is a great Cronenberg film. What is it with Weird Davids?
Oh, I know.
Roy Orbison initially rejected David Lynch's request to use the song in Dreams. Lynch found a way to legally use the song anyway, and Orbison did not discover the song was in the movie until Orbison just happened to see the movie in a California theater. Orbison eventually filmed a video for the song that was produced by Lynch with footage from the movie.
That's nice.
It's a great video. And
then obviously he used one of his songs again, but in Spanish.
Just maybe the piece de resistance of Lynch's filmic career.
Yes.
We talked about helium. The word fuck is used 56 times, all but once by Frank Booth. And we all know the other time it's used. Here's to your fuck, Frank.
Oh my.
It just makes the character even more villainous, even more terrifying and threatening. The script had a little bit more exposition. It was understood in the script that Frank's kidnapping of Don Valens, Dorothy's husband, resulted from drug trafficking. Don had been a dealer who tried to go clean and become a police informant. So his former traffickers called him Frank as a criminal enforcer. Frank became obsessed with Dorothy, kidnapping Don and their son as collateral. But when Dorothy became suicidal, Frank started torturing Don, cutting off his ear to keep Dorothy alive. Much of this material, including Dorothy's eroding mental state, appeared in the deleted portions of the film. Have you ever, I as yet have not, I probably should have for this podcast, have you watched the deleted footage from the Blu-ray?
No, I was going to buy the Blu-ray that included that because the one I have doesn't.
Oh.
But I know they did release it with the footage as well. I think it's like an extra half an hour. I need to. Yeah.
In interviews, David Lynch, as you've said, talked about based on the real experience of when he was with his brother going home from school and came across a dazed, naked woman walking down the street.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's 50 minutes deleted scenes. Okay.
And two little taglines. Now it's dark. It's a strange world.
Yeah.
Which of those do you prefer?
I say it's a strange world. Suits the film a bit more.
I think so. Sort of brings us in. What would be your tagline for it?
Probably the one about the robins. Maybe it's cheesy, but
yeah. Here come the robins.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what people would think if you see that poster and the tagline is "Here robins are a coming."
It would be great. It'd be hilarious.
Thomas, big question.
The film starts off like.
Thomas, big question. Is Jeffrey really stupid for not understanding how the blind man knows how many fingers? You can really hear. You can hear the times. What is the best beer, Jay?
Oh God.
Are you a beer guy?
Not really.
No. I like a Heineken. I'm definitely more so with. I did have a Pabst Blue Ribbon in America, and I have to say I am more so on the side of Heineken.
Maybe a Corona.
Yeah, nice Corona. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful shot, but there's got to be a better place to kiss than in the middle of the hallway after you've shot dead a man, and it's a crime scene, and her dad's just in the background near the end. But it is a beautiful shot. Yes. How long is Sandy and Jeffrey's relationship continuing?
Oh boy.
Do they ever have a conversation where they get drunk and Sandy goes, "Right, you bastard.
Did you enjoy having sex with that older woman?"
With Isabella Rossellini. Who's Isabella? Oh my word! Oh my God! Who's Isabella Rossellini? Have you seen the Friends episode, Jay, where Ross has Isabella Rossellini as his sexception?
No.
It's a funny episode. It's basically sexception. Between I think he's with Rachel at the time, and he goes, and they're all saying ones, and then he goes, Isabella Rossellini, and then she comes into the cafe and he tries to hit on her, but she swiftly puts him down. And I think that's about it for Blue Velvet, and almost certainly one of the more accessible Lynch films in many ways. Jay, do you have any final thoughts on Blue Velvet?
It was just a great film. I can't take it apart as much because obviously I'm more invested with how he does the same things in Twin Peaks, but I love Frank Booth. I love stretches of the film. It's great.
Sure is. And this will we will be back again for next week's next episodes, which is Wild at Heart, I do believe.
Yes,
it is indeed. Right, Jay, it's been a pleasure. Blue Velvet.
Thank you.
Fuck anything that moves.
Da ba da ba da ba da.